Hello and welcome to the Insurance Apprentice. I'm your host, Nontutsugu Mhlungu. We're 6 weeks in and the hunt to find the ultimate representative of the insurance industry continues. This episode is brought to you by the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, the FSCA, a dedicated market conduct regulator for financial institutions in South Africa and successor to the erstwhile Financial Services Board. The contestants have been on a rigorous journey that has put them to the ultimate professional test. The remaining contestants have shown grit, confidence, and brilliant insurance expertise. However, by the time the credits roll, only 3 contestants will move on to the finale. Who will rise to the occasion? And whose pursuit of becoming the insurance apprentice be deemed non-compliant?
Looking back at last week, the moment that really stood out to me was winning the Marsh Challenge. We're talking about the percentage of humans as well as assets.
That minute felt like it was a lot longer than a minute, yet a lot shorter at the same time.
The incident where I froze did throw me off a little bit. I'm so honored that I made it this far.
I would say you're safe today.
There's the element of having to be, solely reliant on yourself.
Elizabeth, the road ends here for you.
I just really baffled my answers through.
My emotions were quite high at that time.
I feel where the road ends here, you're dismissed.
I've said it all the time, you don't lose in a competition like this. You only win and you learn.
For this week, I'm bringing everything.
I'm hoping I can bring it and leave it all on the floor.
Awful way to go out of the competition.
Last week was something else, eh?
Yep.
Have you recovered yet?
Oh my word, honestly, it was seriously something that I never expected, number one. And in that moment, you got 1 minute to speak. 1 minute it felt like forever.
To say that you were the preferred candidate to represent the Insurance Apprentice is by far the greatest honor that would have been bestowed upon me in my career.
Top 4 out of over 100 applications. I mean, this is big. This is huge.
Very big.
This is like a big moment in our careers. This week has just been intense.
Being so close to the finish line, I'm feeling proud, feeling excited, nervous, slightly emotional, but I'm amped.
It's like writing your RE and you don't know what you did wrong.
Exactly.
You failed it with like 64% and you need that one. It's like, but what did I get wrong in this?
I'm really excited being close to the finish line. I can see it, I can taste it, I can feel it.
Regardless of what happens today, it's been an awesome journey.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that could have been standing in our shoes today.
Yeah.
So there's an opportunity and a situational thing about it, like right time, right place,
I think Wayne is right now my strongest competition because I saw him handle the pressure of last week's challenge quite incredibly.
I know we're all here and we deserve to be here. So I'm so excited about what today is gonna bring. We make an awesome top 4 and I wish you guys all the best.
Yeah, good luck, guys. Let's go and knock it out the park.
Yes.
Hi contestants, welcome back to the final task of the Insurance Apprentice 2023. Just 4 of you remain, and I want to congratulate you because you do deserve to be here. I know it hasn't been easy this season. We've had some very difficult tasks, and I know the judging's been quite grueling at times, so well done for making it this far. I do want to tell you that the scores are extremely close at the moment, so it is quite literally anybody's game. And it all does come down to this one task today. And we're very privileged to have the FSCA as a sponsor yet again. And I'm joined here by Fazana Badat, and she'll be taking you through today's task. Over to you, Fazana.
Thanks so much, Simon, and morning, guys. Also, I just want to say congratulations. I mean, I understand you've been through quite an intense process. I'm so happy to be here representing the FSCA. I mean, I know the FSCA has been involved with this for a long time, but it's my first experience. So it's been really great meeting you, and I really look forward to hearing what you have to share with us today. As you know, from a regulatory perspective, the FSCA looks at things like policyholder protection, treating customers fairly, but we also have a sister regulator called the Prudential Authority, which looks at things like financial soundness, good governance, etc. Now, usually the businesses we deal with think of these as kind of very legal tick box issues. What we're going to challenge you today is to think about the outcomes that regulation is trying to seek from a cultural perspective. So think about how the businesses that you represent, how the culture, the drivers of culture, behaviors, decision-making can actually support the outcomes that the FSCA and the Prudential Authority are also trying to achieve, and try and find that alignment. I think it's important for you to show us how the relationship between the insurance sector and the regulator shouldn't be one of our interest versus your interest, but how we aligned in our interests and how culture should support that. So think differently, be creative, be open, all the best, and really look forward to hearing how creative and innovative and strategic you can be. Thank you very much.
Great task. Thank you, Fazana. And of course, as always, I'm joined by Knox today.
Hi, Simon.
Any words for these finalists?
Yes, sure. Good morning, guys. You made it. You're here, top 4. And we can certainly agree that this is the best 4. But I wanted to let you know and remind you that it's just another task. Get your head in the game, A game, as always. And this is your last chance really to leave a lasting impression. Good luck.
Thanks, Knox. Very wise words from a former winner. I'm really looking forward to today. I think it's a great task, a little bit different to what we've had from the FSCA before. And I think it is going to challenge you. Good luck to all of you, and we'll see you a little later. Thank you. You're dismissed.
Greetings, colleagues. I'm excited to welcome you and introduce the FSCA values that will guide our organization going forward, and that will guide me and inspire you in our daily missions. As I am joined by my colleagues to introduce the first value of
collaboration. That means we work together in a spirit of consultation, cooperation, mutual respect and trust.
Trust, which is earned by being transparent, honest, fair, and consistent in our actions and decisions.
That is integrity and accountability.
This requires agility, being able to respond promptly,
smartly and innovatively whenever the situation requires. When we apply creativity again
and again to solve problems successfully, we achieve excellence. Excellence. Set the bar high.
Striving for professionalism and making winning a habit. Because first we create our habits.
And then our habits create us. Good habits breed sustainability.
Our actions today must secure the needs of the future for generations to come.
So, join me, Unati, as I pledge to live by these values by declaring, I am FSCA.
I am FSCA.
I am FSCA.
I am
FSCA.
FSCA.
And I am FSCA.
I am FSCA.
I am FSCA.
I am FSCA.
And I'm FSCA.
I am FSCA.
FSCA.
FSCA. And I am FSCA.
I am FSCA.
And FSCA.
Proud FSCA.
And I am FSCA.
Today's challenge is within my scope of expertise to a certain degree, but it is pushing me to think quite outside of what I am used to.
Hello. Hi. How's it going? Are you having fun?
It's quite something, huh?
Is it what you expected?
No.
That's a good thing, right?
At my brokerage, I am responsible for compliance and compliance matters and a compliance culture, but the scope of this type of task and the way it is not in my wheelhouse, to be honest.
I'm assuming it's a COVID-19 vaccination?
Yeah, it could be a vaccination, or it could be also to show that you were negative or positive. So
okay,
doesn't matter.
Okay.
The point there is arbitrary requirements. So
thank you.
I've missed the brief a few times this competition already, so I don't know if it's going to be within my capabilities. I'm going to put down what I believe I am able to speak on.
The biggest consideration of not being in a team dynamic right now is the different ideas that the team members may bring through to the presentation.
Working alone is a little bit tough. I am struggling with it, and also now I have to present alone as well, so that's a challenge. And I just want to keep my head down and grind.
So it's just a matter of determining where you want to direct your creative potential mostly.
Exactly.
But at the same time, don't lose focus on the fact that you have to also create a connection with your audience, and you can do that in various ways and not only through PowerPoint.
Completely.
Okay.
For this challenge, I am enjoying working alone. We've reached that point in the competition where the judges want to assess our ability to work alone.
I'm a little bit, not concerned, but I've used a lot of the information given to me. I'm not sure, it seems a bit risky.
I am confident in the idea that I want to present today, and it's up to the judges to see whether they actually like it or not.
I am feeling so-so. I'm hoping I can bring it and leave it all on the floor.
Hi, Mutsa.
Hi, Simon.
Take it away.
Good afternoon, board. I've been reviewing some information regarding the current status of our company. I would like to say it's going to take a long time it's going to be a long road rather, to recovery. I do empathize with our policyholders, I do empathize with our employees, but I think we will be able to review and look at some remediation measures which we can both take on board going forward. So after reviewing the report...
Can I just ask, are you presenting to the board or are you presenting to...
To the board.
Okay.
Yes. So I have reviewed the report and there were a few concerns that I noted with regards to the behavior that has driven some of our sales within the organization.
So sorry, what did that tell you about the culture then?
It's not customer-centric.
And instead of being customer-centric, what is it at the moment?
Sorry, instead of being customer-centric.
Yeah, so you said the culture is not customer-centric, but what is it if it's not customer-centric?
The culture in the business at this moment, I think it has not been defined. I think as we as Africa...
Are you saying there's no culture? Are you saying it's poor culture?
I'm saying
and is there a difference?
There is poor culture. I think the values that we have not necessarily been filtered down to all levels of staff. So our values are being passionate about low-income earners and driving them to a situation where they're able to get access to financial services, transparency, as well as integrity. And I think a good way to do this will be engaging staff, making sure that they're aware of the values and what they mean to us as a business, and making sure that we drive this in terms of how we engage with our policyholders, as well as with our internal and external stakeholders.
So who are those external stakeholders, and are you responsible for their culture?
I am not responsible, unfortunately, I'm not responsible for our external stakeholders.
Any of them?
I'm not necessarily directly responsible, but it is important that before we appoint external stakeholders, we know what sort of culture drives them. We know that they're working, these are the values that inform their actions and behaviors. It does affect...
So these guys that manage the claims on your behalf, are you saying you're not directly responsible?
We are responsible as they are performing on our behalf.
Do you think that the employees are clear on the purpose of this business?
I don't think they're unclear of the purpose of the business, but I think there has been a misinterpretation or a miscommunication. And I think along the way, because the company was trying to drive sales and results and profitability, the intention became less consumer-centric, less policyholder-centric, and became more sales-driven.
I'm sorry, Mutsa, but your time is up. So thank you for your presentation. You're dismissed.
Thank you. I'm feeling quite relieved at the moment following the last presentation. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the judges are going to say. If there's anything that I missed out, there's nothing I can do about it now. I'm just really proud of myself for making it through to the end.
Hi, Wayne.
Hello.
Welcome back to the final task. Take it away.
Good day, panel. It would seem that my tendency for leadership and bad decision making has got me in another pickle again. In front of you, I have presented you with a document, a strategic document that outlines this current situation we are in, as well as the plans that I take to rectify the situation as the new CEO of We Are African. There's a lack of compliance culture. It would seem that nobody cares about compliance inside of this building from the top to the bottom. It would seem that there's a lackadaisical approach to something that's very important. The compliance is there to ensure that not only is the entity regulated, but also that the consumer, the customer, is protected. We need to re-establish that the client needs to be
he's addressed the cultural issues at all yet, other than accountability.
I will appoint a claims resolution team to assist with outstanding claims, to acquire documentation as
Sorry, Wayne, just hold on 1 second, please.
Do you want to ask him about
Yeah.
that now?
So Wayne, just to check, thank you. Before you go into the remediation, I'm just interested because you've been talking around a lot of the issues that you've picked up and you've listed them. But if you had to describe the culture as you've walked into it in 2 or 3 words, what would it be?
The culture would be, Latin non-compos mentis. There's no mindfulness to what is going on there. A lack of total compliance culture, as well as no accountability upwards and from the top to below. The culture there is absolutely money driven and not purpose driven. By immediately appointing myself as the compliance officer within the company, reaffirming that accountability.
So do you think that it's a compliance issue?
Yes.
That you're dealing with,
compliance issue and a lack of adherence to compliance, just a failure to acknowledge compliance.
Okay.
But I'm interested, but do you think that a business's purpose should be compliance?
It shouldn't be compliance. A business's purpose should be to change lives. This business's purpose was initially to empower people with insurance. And the one thing I would change is the people from the start. So one of my culture changing propositions is interviewing from senior leadership downwards to see if the people in the company still has the same values. And if you cannot change the people, then you need to change the people.
If you have an organization where these problems are so prevalent, right, then there's an internal issue with the staff and the way that they conduct themselves. By appointing yourself, being the CEO, as a compliance officer, are you not scared that, or are you not concerned that the adherence to compliance will be driven by fear more than them actually buying into what you bring to the company and the role?
I would personally put myself in that position that through encouragement, not fear, through the showing that compliance is there to assist us and not just show us our mistakes, but helps us to learn. I can impose that.
Wayne, we've only got 2 minutes left. Is there something you'd like to say to kind of sum up the conversation with regards culture?
With regards to culture, that we might not always see it and we might not always know if people are acting with regards to with compliance, but there's also the thing about incentivizing people, making sure that they're not selling the product and making sure that they understand that what they are here for is a client. They're not here to sell a product, they're here to make sure that someone understands what that product is. And then the one thing, and I just don't know, I don't fully know how to address it as a value.
Sorry, Wayne, you're out of time.
My emotions are everywhere now. I just don't know how to feel. I'm scared, I am hopeful, it's out of my hands now, and that just scares the shit out of me. I left it all out there. Yeah.
Hi, Christopher.
Hi.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. I was raised in Chatsworth in KZN. We were not wealthy, and our priorities were basically food, shelter, and education. Financial planning was never a priority for my family. We never discussed it around the table. Good afternoon, panel. My name is Christopher Appena, and I've taken over as the CEO of We Are African. Our guiding light was broken. Our values were not aligned to regulation, and it led to our customers being untreated during the underwriting process, not being explained their policies properly, not understanding their policies, unfair claims processes leading to rejection of claims unnecessarily, and even undesirable claims processes like underwriting at claim stage. And we decided, we knew that we had to fix this. We found that leaders were using employees as scapegoats or taking credit for employees' ideas. And that led to some sort of trust discrepancies between employees and leaders. Our leaders were simply not equipped at the time. In order to fix this, we need to foster a sense of trust between leadership and people. And so we want to do that through culture surveys, through 360 feedback surveys, by introducing a leadership development program in partnership with credible leadership institutions in South Africa. There are multiple, and we are currently exploring those.
You're talking a lot about the internal community now.
Yeah.
This business that you've taken over, it's a value chain business. So if you fix this internal stuff, will it really fix your value chain issues?
Yeah. This will be implemented in conjunction with For the People.
As if they were your own staff?
Yes, because of their full binder, they have to be, under extreme scrutiny, and they need to be aligned with
do you take responsibility for any cultural failings in those entities?
To answer your question, so in our assessment, we have to partner with businesses that will complement our culture.
So how do you get that complement right?
I think so, and I think that's what I was speaking to, and I wasn't quite clear that in creating this community, it's involving for the people with We Are African. The thing is, we see them as, because they are partners, they sort of have to abide by, as part of their binder agreement, they need to abide by our values and ensure that they do that. We are appointing a new head of compliance.
Sorry, Christopher, your time is up.
So,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're dismissed. Thank you.
I've just finished my presentation. I am proud of what I produced. I was really passionate about it, and I hope it translated well with the judges. The judges' reaction to my presentation was a bit mixed. You can never read them. I mean, that's one thing I've learned. Don't try and read their reactions. If I were to make it to the top 3, I will scream and jump for joy.
Hey, Carl.
Simon.
Welcome back. The floor is yours.
Thank you for your time. So I must admit, in consideration to becoming a CEO of this company, I'm not quite sure if I want to. However, when I have a look at what some of the considerations that we look at of poor cultural drivers.
Kyle, sorry, can I just stop here? I just want to check. Are these cultural drivers, do you think, or are these outcomes? I'm trying to understand. So what you're listing is basically the situation on the ground as you found it.
Absolutely.
These are outcomes. So this is what you're finding there. But when we talk about a cultural driver, what is it in the organization that's resulting in these? Are you able to just make that connection?
So for example, there's a culture of doing business with binder brokers. Currently, the company's structural setup doesn't really allow for a huge amount of controls and compliance in place. So, again, I don't think there was a review done when doing out. I don't think they did their due diligence when looking on their binders as well.
So sorry, are you saying that culture extends to your business partners? Are you saying whose responsibility is that?
It's definitely ours as the insurance company. We are dealing with people who represent us. I feel as though the culture currently, although it's one of a very murky culture, but incentivizing compliments.
I like murky. Murky's a good. We should add that into our legislation. We don't want a murky culture, right?
Sorry about that.
No, it's good.
I incentivize compliments as in, really doing well for the client within our culture. So if we really focus on the compliance aspect and treating the customer fairly, that'll lead to us receiving more complaints rather than just making a quick sale and looking at profitability.
Do you mean more compliments or more complaints?
Sorry, more compliments, not complaints.
So Freudian slip there.
I know, I'm very worried.
Apologies about that.
Carl, I'm also going to drive you to the last slide.
The conclusion?
And I think it sort of sums up what we're trying to get out of this. Just talk us through that first.
So again, our actions, behaviors, and decisions are all as the result of a learned culture, right? How we act is what we've learned within the organization is allowed, it's acceptable, okay? Those actions become our behaviors every day and they affect our decisions, okay? The decisions we make will change the culture and it'll really lead from, and when I say decisions are everyday decisions. It's faced with a scenario every day. Am I putting the customer first, not just to be compliant, but because of what we do?
So my last question is, do you think that the FSCA is an enabler of that or a barrier towards that?
No, absolutely. You would have seen, I just put it in one of my slides over here where I said engage with the FSCA and the PA on how best to proceed. Smaller achievable targets when going into a situation that you're faced with that is daunting. I said here, how do you eat an elephant one step at a time? And the FSCA and the Prudential Authority should really be looked at as someone that is really cooperating with us on this. We shouldn't be looking at them as the authority that's going to come down hard on us, but rather look at them for guidance in instances where we're struggling to obtain compliance. So what are the small targets that the FSCA...
Thanks, Carl. You're out of time. You're dismissed.
Thank you very much.
I'm just so grateful to be here. It really is just such an amazing experience that, you can't pay for growth like this. You can't pay for lessons like this. This isn't pressure. As much as it is tough, you're getting grilled. Pressure's providing for a family, not having money. Pressure's socioeconomic issues. Pressure's losing a loved one, This isn't pressure, this is a privilege.
Right, so we've heard some interesting presentations. Fazana, anyone kind of stand out for you today?
Someone stood out for me just because they just pushed themselves out their comfort zone so much and it actually paid such dividends, and I think it's such a lesson and message in trusting yourself and thinking differently.
I am hoping that I did enough. I am hoping that I did address all the judges' queries and questions correctly.
I'm competing against great people. If I'd make it through here, there'd be a sense of pride.
If we're talking about the same individual, we actually had criticisms against that person about reverting to their box, sticking to what they know, and in fact, sometimes even forcing a subject to fit their little box. So to see them step so far outside of that today was really refreshing.
If it was to end today for me, I probably would understand it. It's not going to hurt me, I'm not going to die, but I'm going to learn one way or another, and that's what I take from it.
I think for me, it was fairly obvious today who that was. I'm going to wait until you've indicated who you think it should be. You can just point to them. Fazana?
So, I mean, it's tough to say because I enjoyed very much meeting this person, but, you know, I think...
Right.
Based purely on today, their performance, what they were tasked to do, and the fact that I think we all gave them equal guidance as to what it is that we were looking for, because at some point we did realize that not everybody grasped it as well as we would have liked. And despite all those interventions, I do agree that that particular individual, unfortunately, really didn't stray from the outcomes and delve deeper into the culture conversation that we were trying to get out of them.
Sure.
If I were to make it to the top 3, I would be over the moon. Yeah, I would just be so happy. It's been such an enriching experience, such a transformational journey. I'd be so happy.
But we're in agreement, I think, that this is the individual that's going today. All right, let's get them back in here. All right, I think we can all agree that the FSCA didn't disappoint us today in terms of a challenging task. But right now, of course, Fazana, I really want to thank you and of course the FSCA for being such mainstay sponsors in this competition. It really means a lot to us, and I think it means a lot to the industry as well. But I'd like to hand over to you now for your feedback, please.
Thank you, Simon, and thank you to all of you. I know this was a difficult task. It was meant to challenge you, but you all took it in stride. Unfortunately, as difficult as the concept of culture is, 3 of you really didn't get it. Everyone talks about customer-centric culture, we customer-centric, but I think the industry has a long way to go in unpacking deeply what that means. And culture is always a good example because it seems like such a simple concept, and I'm guessing by now you've all realized it's not a simple concept. And it requires a shift in thinking, it requires innovation, new ways of looking at things. It is a little concerning that so many of you missed it. And the reason I say that is, I don't know if it would surprise you, but every problem and every challenge that was in your case study is an example from a real life insurer. None of it was made up. Yes, we made up the scenario, but all those problems is actually what's happening in the industry. But I think with the creative thinking you're going to bring, I think we're going to be able to overcome those challenges. So thank you very much. Thanks, Simon.
Thanks, Fazana. That was great feedback. Knox?
Hi, guys. I think my hope is that you guys really grasped the importance of what the FSCA tasked you with today. You know, we look at you and you're the future leaders of this industry, and these are the issues and critical matters that you will be grappling with. And in fact, you should start thinking about them now.
You've all done a great job over this season. So once again, I just want to compliment you on that. Also, just want to remind you that I am going to tell you who was the leader in today's task. But just bear in mind that unlike the virtual competition, the scores are cumulative. So the person that wins today's task isn't necessarily the winner of the competition. It is all about consistency or gradual improvement throughout the competition. So let me start with my feedback. Chris, I mean, there's a lot of skill in brevity, but this was your presentation. Do you think that this was a good strategy for you to follow today?
The task was close to me. It spoke to a topic that I'm really passionate about. And so I thought to myself, rather present it to you in that way. without presentation coming in the way.
Well, I must tell you, it worked brilliantly. Because, yeah, we were completely engaged during your talk. Had I been an employee in this business and you had taken over as CEO and that was your strategy, I would have felt comfortable that we were moving in the right direction. So, well done. And what you can take from this is you were the clear winner of today's task. So well done to you, and you are safe. Kyle,
yes.
You gave us this presentation, which is of biblical proportions. Look at that. I think there's an Amazonian tribe somewhere crying over this. How do you think that worked for you today?
I mean, given how the presentation went, I didn't get to touch on half of it. So I see maybe the need to have been brief in terms of trying to show that I understood the topic.
One of the problems with this presentation was that half of this document is basically a regurgitation of the stuff that's in the brief. So, as you know, we only have 3 spots going into the finale. This is the last task. So can I have Kyle, Mutsa, and Wayne please take one step forward. So, Mutsa, your research, in fact, out of everyone, you seem to have done the most research. There was a document in your presentation that we enjoyed seeing, but unfortunately there didn't seem to be a lot behind it, and when we were interrogating it, we couldn't get to the bottom of it or to the substance behind it. Wayne, you demonstrated unbelievable empathy while you were delivering your presentation. But again, there was this kind of regurgitation of a lot of the material, and there just seemed to be a general misunderstanding of what we meant by culture. And then Kyle, what I can compliment you on is your quick thinking ability. But to have, what looks like 1 million bullet points and not really having any substance behind it, that was a bit of a letdown for us today. One of you will be leaving us right now. Mutsa? You are safe. You may step back. Wayne? You are the next person leaving the Insurance Apprentice. You've been a great competitor. Thank you very much. You're dismissed. I think that in spite of the pressure that you've all found yourselves under during the course of the competition, you can hold your heads high. You've done an unbelievable job. All right, so congratulations again to our top 3. I'll of course see you at the finale next week, where we'll be announcing the winner. But of course, none of this is possible without our sponsors. Once again, thank you to Old Mutual Insure for the studio. Thank you, Fazana and the FSCA for a brilliant task to end the season on. And to you, Knox Dlamini, love you to bits. Oh. Thank you so much for being my co-judge during the season. Couldn't have done it without you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you all next week.
Did I expect to be the guy going today? No, to be honest with you, I didn't. And do I feel it's fair? I don't. but I know for a fact that I left everything in there. And if it wasn't enough, then it wasn't enough.
Well done today. You deserve it.
No, we all gave our like best.
Look at me now. I was not supposed to be here. I was the one that was initially not good enough to get into the top 10. Week after week after week, I was in the winning team. I was the leader of how many of those winning teams?
It is an absolute honor and a privilege to fight it out with you. Hey.
Well done. Congratulations, you guys.
This doesn't define me. I'm a fighter, coming from the back of the pack this whole way through. I worked for my spot here. Nothing was given, everything was earned.
That was so intense.
It was.
It was honestly, like I'm so elated, but at the same time, I think I'm still processing that moment where Simon's like who he's choosing in that moment.
To think that you've made it each and every week.
Yes.
And standing here in the final 3.
Yeah.
It's an amazing feeling.
It's incredible achievement. Well done, guys.
I'm gonna go conquer whatever comes next. And I don't know what that is, but I just know that this doesn't define what I think in my heart I am.
All right, thanks again, Fazana. How was your first experience on the Insurance Apprentice?
It was fantastic.
You did a super job as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, feedback was excellent. Good job.
Thanks, Simon.
Co-judge. All right, so unfortunately, goodbye to Wayne. And those are our 3 finalists.
Great choices.
Well done.
It's a brilliant top 3.
1, 2, 3, top 3!